Life moves fast, and youth slips away quicker than we realize. But what if I told you that the memories, laughter, struggles, and dreams of youth carry the power to shape not just your present but your entire future? This is a story about celebrating youth, embracing mistakes, and raising a glass to life itself. Stick with me until the end, because this story might just awaken something inside you that you've forgotten. If you love stories that inspire, motivate, and touch your heart, make sure to subscribe for more powerful journeys like this one. Youth is often described as fleeting, a flame that burns bright before slowly fading into the calmer, quieter embers of adulthood. Yet for those living in it, youth feels endless, an eternal summer of possibilities, laughter, heartbreak, and dreams. I remember those years as if they were yesterday, though time has carried me far from them. This is not just my story, it is the story of anyone who has ever looked back on their younger days with a smile, a sigh, or even a tear. Cheers to youth, cheers to life. It began in a small town where the nights were quiet but the hearts of the young were restless. We were a group of friends, 5 souls bound together not by circumstance, but by an unshakable belief that life was bigger than the streets we grew up on. There was Amir, the dreamer with a notebook always in hand, scribbling poetry he never showed anyone. Sana, the fearless one, whose laughter could light up even the darkest corners of our world. Hira, calm and reflective, with eyes that always seemed to be searching for something beyond what was visible. Bilal, the joker, who wore his humor like armor against the weight of life. And then there was me, caught between wanting to live every moment recklessly and fearing the consequences of choices not yet made. Our youth was stitched together by late-night talks on rooftops, the hum of cheap guitars under starlit skies, and long walks through empty streets where the silence felt like freedom. We didn't know much about the world, but we knew that we belonged to each other. Every day felt like a small rebellion against the expectations that pressed down on us, the idea that we had to grow up, settle down, and stop dreaming. One summer stands out in my memory more than the rest. It was the summer after we finished high school, the summer when the future loomed large but still far enough away to ignore. We made a pact, to live that summer as if it were the last season of our youth. Every day became an adventure, every night a celebration. We weren't rich, but we had endless energy and a belief that happiness was something we could create with our own hands. We explored abandoned buildings, imagining stories of those who had lived there before us. We swam in rivers under the moonlight, shivering but laughing as if cold could never touch us. We built bonfires and told stories until dawn, watching the sky shift from black to blue to gold. Amir read his poetry aloud for the first time, his voice trembling, but we clapped and cheered like it was the greatest performance ever given. Sana dared us into risks, from sneaking into concerts without tickets to standing at the edge of cliffs and shouting our dreams into the wind. Bilal made jokes when fear threatened to creep in, reminding us not to take ourselves too seriously. Hira kept us grounded, her quiet wisdom guiding us when we strayed too far into recklessness. It was that summer I realized that youth was not about age, it was about spirit. It was about daring to live without guarantees, to love without promises, to dream without limits. Youth was not measured in years, but in the courage to embrace life with open arms. But like all seasons, it could not last forever. As the summer ended, choices began to separate us. Amir won a scholarship abroad, his dream finally larger than the pages of his notebook. Sana left for the city to chase her ambitions, promising to return but knowing deep down that life had other plans. Hira stayed behind, caring for her family, her sacrifices unseen but deeply felt. Bilal drifted, searching for meaning in a world that didn't always value his laughter. And me, I stood at the crossroads, torn between holding onto the past and stepping into the unknown. Years passed, as they always do. The 5 of us were scattered, each carrying fragments of that summer in our hearts. Life became heavier. There were bills, responsibilities, failures, heartbreaks. There were moments of triumph too, graduations, jobs, marriages, children. But through it all, the memory of youth remained like a song playing faintly in the background, reminding us of who we once were. One day, after nearly a decade, we reunited. It wasn't planned, it rarely ever is. A wedding in the town brought us all together again. At first, it felt strange. We had changed, wrinkles at the corners of our eyes, stories of struggle etched into our words, silence where laughter used to be. But then someone mentioned that summer, and just like that, we were transported back. The years melted away, and for a brief moment, we were young again. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. We shared secrets we had carried alone for years. We cried for the losses none of us could escape. Amir read as his published book, his words polished but still carrying the raw passion of his youth. Sana told stories of the city, of victories and betrayals, her spirit unbroken but tempered by experience. Hira spoke of sacrifice and resilience, teaching us that strength often comes in silence. Bilal made us laugh, though now his humor carried layers of wisdom. And I realized that life had given us more than we ever expected. That night, we raised our glasses together. Not just for the past, not just for the future, but for the present moment. Cheers to youth, cheers to life. Because even though time moves forward and we grow older, youth is not something that disappears. It lives on in memories, in laughter, in the courage to still dream, no matter our age. Life is not measured in the number of years we live but in the number of moments that take our breath away. And if there's one thing youth teaches us, it's that life is meant to be lived fully, with joy and fearlessness. The beauty of youth is not that it lasts forever, but that it gives us something to carry into the rest of our lives, a reminder to keep dancing, keep dreaming, keep living. And so I say it again, not just for me but for all of us, cheers to youth, cheers to life. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that life is worth celebrating. Subscribe for more stories that awaken your spirit and remind you of the power of dreams, laughter, and love. Because no matter your age, it's never too late to raise a glass to youth, to life, and to the beauty of living.